Khairlanji, a small village in Bamdara district of Maharashtra state in India, located around 75 kilometers from the orange city Nagpur, which is the third largest city and the winter capital of the India. Khairlanji is surrounded by green farmlands. Now, when there reminds the shame on humanity, the cruelty of human beings on human being, now the wind of Khairlanji carries with it the bloodstains and a storm of disturbed emotions. The village comes in limelight due to Khairlanji Massacre of 2006, lynching-style murders of a developing scheduled castes (SC) Dalit family by members of the other backward castes (OBC). In Indian caste system, OBCs possess an inherent sense of superiority over the SCs Dalit. Khairlanji evokes the power, brutality, and arrogance of India's caste system, and the impunity enjoyed by its most cruel practitioners. At the time of this atrocity, Khairlanji had a population of 787 people. The majority of the population, with 181 families, belonged to other backward class (OBC), 10 families of Adivasi tribal community, and the minority of SC Dalits, with only 3 families including the Bhotmanghes. The family, comprising Khairlal Bhotmanghe, age 55, at the time of the carnage, his wife Surekha Bhotmanghe, age 40, their sons Sudhir, 21, and Roshan, 19, and daughter Priyanka, 17. Economic hardship caused the Bhotmanghe family to move in 1989 to Khairlanji from Ambedkar village. Khairlanji was Surekha's home before her marriage, and the place where her father had owned around 5 acres of plot of land. Khairlal and Surekha gradually cultivated the land, acre by acre. Surekha Bhotmanghe was educated up to class 9. She was socially conscious, intolerant of injustice, courageous, and outspoken type of woman. She therefore tended to take the lead in most matters concerning her family. Her husband Khairlal was educated up to class 4, but was very hard-working and simple kind of man. Herself extremely hard-working, she raised her children to work with diligence and live with dignity. With her Ambedkarite spirit, Surekha had internalized the value of education and was determined to educate her children to the highest extent possible. The eldest Sudhir was partially vision impaired and was unable to continue his education beyond class 3. He helped his parents at the farm. Roshan, however, was in his first year of college and was doing a course in computers in Mohadi village. The youngest Priyanka was in her last year of school at Andhalgaon, the district circle headquarters. She was a good student, having stood first in her school in class 10. She always took part in most extracurricular activities, including the National Cadet Corps, the voluntary military training service for school and college students. Priyanka and Roshan commuted every day out of Khairlanji for their education. Notwithstanding their poverty, the family possessed all that symbolizes progress in the Indian village context, like education, Ambedkarite rationality, a bicycle, cultivating land, a small business to earn money, and even a mobile phone. After the day's labors on the farm, the entire household would roll beedies, leaf-wrapped, poor man smoke, to earn extra money. Hence, for a rural setting, the Bhotmanghe's financial condition was stable, even satisfactory.
You see, I will be your proud daughter, after I stood first in 12th standard too.
I too want to do good in my computers.
My kids, I am so proud of you. Take the best possible education, and do better with your life and others too.
Your I and I will try to do whatever best we can do for you.
Don't forget me after you become successful.
We need to punish these Maharas.
Just 9 months before the attack on the Botmangis, the Khobragadis mourned in solitude of the mysterious loss of Dorwas Khobragadis' 20-year-old son, Ashish, found dead on the 28th of February 2006, near a canal, some 25 kilometers from Khairlanji. Ashish was a second-year BA student, studying in Nagpur. This death mystery is still unsolved. The only 3 Dalit SC families were Buddhist, having followed Ambedkar-led conversion in 1956, as followed by many Mahara during that time. Being minority, Bhotmanghi, Meshram and Khobragadi have always lived in fear of the dominant caste. The Bhotmanghi land was close to the village's main irrigation canal and has easy approach on the water network. It was never easy for the Bhotmanghis to access the canal due to caste discrimination. To avoid problems with their neighbors, they would draw the water either during the night or at daybreak. The Bhotmanghis lived in a thatched hut, built on panchayat, or commonly held land at the edge of the village. When they afforded to build a house, the village panchayat did not sanction it, defying the panchayat veto being out of the question. The bricks bought for the construction were loosely stacked into walls. Cement was never applied. Despite its material advancement, the village was evidently still regressive enough to hold Dalits unworthy of modern living arrangements. Since the Gram Panchayat had refused them permission, their home did not have an electricity connection. The family also reportedly faced traditional discrimination in accessing drinking water at the village well.
Dada, why are you damaging our crop?
You bastard, this is the road to our farms.
Sir, there is no road here. This is our farm.
You scoundrel, don't act smart. How dare you? You wait and watch. We will show you the road.
Oh Dada, whom you are threatening, leave our farm.
In 2001, a man named Shiv Shankar Atilkar set his cattle loose in the Bhotmanghi farm and caused damage to their crop. When Surekha raised the issue with him, Atilkar insulted her with vulgar and casteist language, equivalent to racist abuse elsewhere. Bayalal reported the matter to the police, who registered it under sections 448, house trespass, 294, causing annoyance with an obscene act in any public place, and 506, threat to cause death or grievous hurt of the Indian Penal Code, IPC. This enraged Atilkar, who gathered a mob to march to the Bhotmanghi's home. Although there was no physical assault, they abused the family and threatened to kill them. When the Bhotmanghis went to report the intimidation, they found the police had forwarded the earlier complaint to court, but in the absence of any witness, the accused were discharged. In 2002, another dispute arose with 2 farmers, Ambilal Kurapi and Ishwar Atilkar, who used the Bhotmanghi property as a passage to their own farms during the period when the land was not under cultivation. Clashes over the property went back to the Bhotmanghi's arrival in Khairlanji. But the issue reached flashpoint in 2004, when both Shiv Shankar Atilkar and Surekha Bhotmanghi filed complaints against each other in the subdivisional court. Atilkar contended that a road had previously existed through the Bhotmanghi property, whereas Surekha charged him with trespass. Local Revenue Court on the 30th of June 2004 ordered the creation of a road through the family's land. This order was made with partiality, without even examining the revenue map and other official documents of Bhotmanghi. It was challenged by Bayalal for a remeasurement of the land. The surveyor complied and ordered the necessary correction. On the 23rd of July 2004, the subdivisional officer at Bamdara also confirmed the surveyor's order. The revised outcome came in the favor of Bhotmanghis. Through this time, Siddharth Gadjagli, a cousin of Surekha and a police patil, an honorary post without much authority, in the neighboring village of Dusala, had actively supported the Bhotmanghis in their cause. Despite the favorable outcome from the surveyor, he mediated a compromise with the Atilkars and other villagers by conceding a 10-foot wide passage through the Bhotmanghi field as an access road to end the family's enmity with and harassment by the caste practitioners. No attempts at reconciliation however, could heal the OBC sense of caste affront. The villagers nursed a deep grudge against the defiant Bhatmanghis, and also against Siddharth Gajbhai, targeted for having been instrumental in the Bhatmanghis court victory, and for giving them his support. His mediation over the access road they had wanted was interpreted as an act of humiliation, not a gesture of goodwill. Not only did the harassment continue unabated, it became more vicious. This further alienated the Bhatmanghis, who began increasingly to look to Siddharth Gajbhai for more support. At this, the villagers began spreading canards about an illicit relationship between Gajbhai and Surekha. Priyanka was subjected to lewd remarks and casteist taunts while she cycled to school and back. A village youth, Yogesh Purushottam Titamari, tried to sexually assault her too.
Uncle, it's unbearable now. The people are regularly abusing me, making bad gestures, and today that boy physically misbehaved with me. I am afraid a lot.
Don't worry, I will talk to his father.
Siddharth Gajbhai was a prominent person in the area. A well-to-do man, owning 50 acres of land and a kerosene agency, he was influential and nursed small-time political ambitions. Many people from different castes, including some from Khairlanji, worked for him as farm laborers. From the beginning of the Bhatmanghis conflict, he had advised them not to wrangle with the villagers, and to concentrate instead on their farming and the children's education. Both Bayalal and Surekha tried to abide by his advice in the early years. But it did not help matters. When the destruction of their crops began, Surekha could bear it no more. At this point, Siddharth Gajbhai and his younger brother, Rajendra, gave the Bhatmanghis enduring support, and surprisingly, he was identified as their prime irritant and target to be eliminated. Siddharth Gajbhai visited Titamari's house, reprimanded Yogesh, and expressed his annoyance to Yogesh's father. That night, Yogesh, accompanied by 20 to 25 friends, went to the Bhatmanghis and made threats to the family. Since Gajbhai was still there, they could not muster the courage to commit any real violence.
Bastard Siddharth Gajbhai must be destroyed first.
Gajbhai, however, advised the Bhatmanghis not to escalate tensions by going to the police.
Bastard Siddharth Gajbhai must be destroyed first.
Sometime in June or July of 2006, there were rumors of robber gangs operating in the area. The Khairlanji OBCs planned to take advantage of this situation to kill Gajbhai. Roshan Bhatmanghi, however, alerted his uncle about the plot, and he took precautions that foiled it. On the 1st of September 2006, after yet another round of verbal assault, Surekha went to the Anthalgaon police station and complained against some persons of the OBC Kunbi and Khalar castes. The police did not take any action. But the Khairlanji traditional caste practitioners were not to give up so easily. They devised another plan, this time for the 3rd of September. That day, Gajbhai had come to Khairlanji to visit the Bhatmanghis. While he was there, one Sakru Mahagu Binjiwa, whose wife worked on Gajbhai's farm, arrived and demanded wages he claimed had not been paid her. An altercation ensued, and at one point, Gajbhai slapped Binjiwa. He then left the house. At around 6 that evening, about half a kilometer from Khairlanji, his motorcycle got stuck in a stretch of mud as he tried to drag it out. 10 or 15 OBCs from Khairlanji ambushed him and beat him until he fell unconscious. From a distance, Surekha and Priyanka saw this happening. They ran to his defense. Binjiwa was among the attackers, they identified. Seeing them, the men fled the scene. And the Bhatmanghis brought Gajbhai home. They immediately informed Rajendra Gajbhai, who came and took his brother back home to Dusala. The next day, his wounds proved serious enough to require him to be hospitalized. Later that day, Rajendra Gajbhai went to lodge a complaint at the Anthalgaon police station, but the police turned him away and refused to register it. The complaint was finally lodged at the police station in the town of Kamptee, where Siddharth Gajbhai had been hospitalized. Doctors at the hospital had insisted on a police complaint, in view of the gravity of his injuries. Since the incident had taken place under the Anthalgaon police station's jurisdiction, the Kamptee police proactively transferred the case to Anthalgaon. The Anthalgaon police visited both Dusla and Khairlanji to record Suraikana and Priyanka statements. At the village tea shop, the team is said to have heard threats to eliminate the Bhotmanghi family by Panchayat head and his team, yet the police did nothing. 2 days later, and Halgaon police station in charge, PSI, completed the formality of registering a criminal case against the assailants identified by Suraikana and Priyanka Bhotmanghi. However, the police did not arrest the accused. The fact-finding reports have noted that he appeared to show more interest in the opportunity to extract bribes from the accused than in performing his professional duty. PSI did not invoke the Scheduled Caste Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act, also known as the PER Act, although it perfectly fitted the case. Palpable tension had prevailed in Khairlanji since the 3rd of September because of the impending police action against the attackers. The air was thick with rumors of a plan to attack Rajendra Gajbhi and the Bhotmanghi, should any police action be initiated. To legitimize the plot, the villagers spread the fabrication that Rajendra Gajbhi, who had been instrumental in following the case up with the police, was planning retaliation for the assault on his brother. The Halgaon police had a fair idea of the imminent danger to the Bhotmanghis and the Gajbhis. However, the administration took no preventive steps to curb the communal tension in the village, or to provide the Gajbhis and the Bhotmanghis protection. On the 21st of September, an unsuccessful attack was made on Rajendra Gajbhi. The incident, as usual, went unnoticed. Last, on the 29th of September, the Halgaon police charged 12 of the 15 accused in the case of the attack on Siddharth Gajbhi under IPC sections 324 voluntarily causing hurt by dangerous weapons or means, 147, rioting, 148, rioting with deadly weapons, and 149, unlawful assembly, and advised them to seek bail from the court at Mohadi. As expected by everyone, Mohadi court granted the bail to all accused before 5 p.m. In a celebratory mood, the accused and their supporters headed out on a tractor, first to attempt an attack on Rajendra Gajbhi and on Bhotmanghis. It was intolerable for caste practitioners to get behind bar because of low caste family. It was against their false prestige of being dominant caste, now as if it was their right to take the revenge with Bhotmanghis by eliminating them in most brutal way. The Khairlanji OBCs were unconscious enough to understand that they were killing a democracy. The subsequent movements of the residents of the village were so conspiratorial that the Bhotmanghi family knew something unpleasant was in store for them. Priyanka was drawing water from the community well when she overheard the village women talking about showing the Dheeds, their place. Dheeds is a derogatory term for Dalits in Maharashtra. When she reported this to Suraika, her mother then called a nephew, Rashtrapal Narnavari, who lived some distance away, at around 5 p.m. and expressed her apprehension. Narnavari told Suraika to leave Khairlanji at once and come to his home with all her family. However, Suraika wanted to wait a while before deciding. Narnavari then advised her to at least inform the police, but Suraika had had enough experience of the police and told Narnavari that it was futile, as they would never act without a bribe. Priyanka also anticipated an attack on her uncles, Siddharth and Rajendra Gajbhi, and went to Dusila to alert them. She was home by evening. Bayalal was then working in his field. At about 6 p.m., the tractors carrying the accused and their supporters, all of them drunk, returned to Khairlanji. They were joined by others from the village, including women, before they headed to the Bhotmanghis. According to Bayalal, he heard shouts while he was in his field, "Maro Salonko, beat the bastards." He ran towards his house, and was stunned to find the attack was indeed on his home. A mob of about 60 to 70 people armed with sticks, bicycle chains, and other improvised weapons was attacking his family. He watched for a while, hidden behind a bush. He could identify a tractor, and some of the men and women in the mob. He was scared to death at their ferocity. After a while, he took a byway and ran to Dusila, where he told Siddharth Gajbhi what he had seen. Siddharth called the Halgaon police station and informed about the ongoing attack, but the police did not take the matter seriously. At around 6:20 p.m. Rajendra called Suraika. She reportedly screamed for help before the phone went dead. He understood what was happening. He rushed to Khairlanji and saw a large mob gathered at the Bhotmanghi's house and were thrashing someone. He too could not muster the courage to go and defend the victims, but ran instead to do salah to his elder brother Siddharth. The actual happening between 6 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. mainly arranged at the Bhotmanghi's house. Women were active participants, say such witnesses as were willing to speak. Everybody was armed with sticks, axes, cycle chains, iron rods, knives. Sarika and Priyanka had feared some harm the entire day, but nothing of this scale. Rushing into the hut, the women in the mob first dragged Priyanka and Sarika out by their hair, beat them and tore off their clothes. They were tied to bullock cart and paraded naked before entire village. Priyanka was then taken to a nearby cattle shed, where she was raped, possibly by many people. It is likely that Sarika also met with the same fate. Sudhir and Roshan were meanwhile beaten mercilessly. It is said they were ordered to rape their sister and mother. When they did not comply, their genitals were crushed and mutilated. All four lay helpless, as anyone and everyone did whatever they wanted to them. It is said the rapes continued, even after the women had died. The horror continued for about 2 hours. When it finally ended, everything suddenly returned to normal, as though nothing had happened. Some people brought a bullock cart, loaded the bodies into it, and dumped them about 4 kilometers away in Kannur.